We are officially in terrain whereby Democrats and Republicans are accusing one another of politicizing intelligence. And now there are reports that they can turn to suit their own talking points. This Wednesday, the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, released a document. This was a document that was produced by the Republican-controlled House Intelligence Committee. It was finished in 2020, but she released it, declassified it, and it was focused on the 2016 election. Now, let's be clear, there's no arguing that Russia interfered in the 2016 election, which this document is focused on. But the disagreement comes on the level of where Russia was putting its focus, whether or not it was trying to support Trump and undermine Clinton. That's what the intelligence community assessment found. That's also what the Senate Intelligence Committee also found. Well, this document takes issue with that. And keep in mind that Trump has always resented the fact that his victory in 2016 was conflated with Russian interference. I read all 46 pages of this report. And to be clear, I have never myself written an intelligence assessment or report on the intelligence community. I do not know the conventions of how it works. There are people who are focused on analytic integrity. There are experts who literally dedicate their lives to that. One of the most notable aspects in the report itself is that it says that senior CIA officers, plural quote, said, "We don't have direct information that Putin wanted to get Trump elected." Another quote, missing from the ICA, the intelligence community assessment, was significant intelligence that a longtime Putin confidant told a sensitive contact. Quote, "Putin told him he did not care who won the election." Now, the report describes other things. It says that Putin withheld damning information on Hillary Clinton through the SVR, the Overseas Intelligence Service, equivalent to the CIA, and that they concluded that she was psychologically weaker. They suggested that potentially Russia favored her. They also said that the assessment was rushed because Obama knew that Trump was incoming, he would have a different CIA director, and they didn't want them to have any control over it. 46 pages of this. Now, does any of this suggest that Obama put pressure on the intelligence community to manufacture findings? Does this actually prove what Tulsi Gabbard said at the White House on Wednesday, that this was a quote unquote years-long coup, treasonous conspiracy, evidence referred to the Justice Department for a potential criminal investigation? I will leave that up to you to think about. Senator Mark Warner, Democrat and the number 2 on the Senate Intelligence Committee, he evoked the bipartisan and unanimous conclusion by the Senate Intel Committee, saying, quote, "After years of painstaking investigation, more than 200 witness interviews and millions of documents, was that Russia launched a large-scale influence campaign in the 2016 election in order to help then-candidate Donald Trump. Nothing in this is partisan." He also said, "It seems as though the Trump administration is willing to declassify anything and everything except the Epstein files." And I've been hearing a lot about that this is really just red meat for MAGA, that this is just a distraction from the Epstein files. Meanwhile, a staff member of the House Intelligence Committee, the ones that were behind this report originally, showed me a letter that the chairman, Congressman Rick Crawford, sent to President Trump on July 2nd, so before things really got crazy on the Epstein files. And it described how the CIA had possession of this report and that he had tried to get it back in early March. The staffer said that the report was stored in a vault-like room inside the CIA. Ratcliffe said that he would get to it, and potentially people underneath him didn't have any interest in following through in this. About 12 hours after this letter gets sent to President Trump, CCing DNI Tulsi Gabbard, the director of national intelligence, now suddenly the CIA says, okay, you can come get the report back. So the staffer admitted to me, yes, it is terrible timing, and Crawford would have wanted it out in January as he was first trying to push it. Apparently, there's also a person who is going around claiming that he is the lead drafter of the report. But I'm told that there were two drafters, public servants, who were behind this report, and they do not want their names out there. What's being said at the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, which was the mechanism by which the report was released? Well, it's really hard to say. As I reported a few days ago, I was told by an official there that 25% of personnel there are now gone. One person told me that they see what Gabbard released as being poor analysis, and for them, it's just kind of par for the course. They're used to it. This person said that people there are literally taking it 1 hour at a time. It struck me as a bit unusual that this office would be releasing the House Intelligence Committee report. I can't think of a moment where that's happened. I also contacted two other officials, former officials, I should say, with relevant backgrounds. They also couldn't think of a moment. But the staffer said that the director of national intelligence in the office was necessary for declassification. There's also been some tension around whether or not this exposed any sources or methods. And going through it in all of those pages, it would take time to see whether or not there really was any danger to anybody or any particular flow of information. And there is no doubt that accountability and analytic integrity matter. But I rewind years ago, walking into the Pentagon, meeting people at the CIA, what that felt like compared to going to the Hill to talk to members of Congress. And what I really like about interviewing people in national security is that they just want to do the work. They're not there to be partisan. They all just want to get the job done. Yes, there are disagreements about what the top priorities are, how to do that work. It's obviously not an easy job for anybody involved. But I feel like this is a very different moment that we're living through. And ultimately, these fractures and these conversations where people are living in different realities will benefit Russia, will benefit China. This is not rocket science. But we have reached another level in this debate, taking us back to 2016. If you found this video helpful, I would love for you to support me, support Humint, and I'll see you soon.